Chapter 1. When the village started to disappear. In the deep northern region of Japan, Tōhoku, there are villages that once thrived with farming families, rice fields, and small wooden houses clustered around elementary schools. In the 1960s and 70s, schools like these were the heart of the community. Children walked together through snow-covered roads. Teachers lived inside the villages. The school bell marked life itself. But then, something changed. Young people began leaving for Tokyo and Sendai. Farms became empty. Houses collapsed under heavy snow. Entire families disappeared over a single generation. And slowly, the schools began to shrink. First, one class disappeared. Then one grade. Then the entire school had only a handful of children left. Finally, the doors were closed. But in rural Japan, closing a school is never simple. Because people say, a school is not just a building. It is where children's memories stay behind. Chapter 2. The Last Day of Classes. One of the most famous abandoned schools is said to be deep in the mountains of Akita-Iwate border region. Locals recall the final day clearly. It was winter. Snow fell so heavily that the schoolyard disappeared under white silence. Only 7 students attended that final morning. The teacher, an older man nearing retirement, rang the bell one last time. But something strange happened. As the bell stopped, no one spoke, not even the children. According to local accounts, the teacher later said, "It felt like the building didn't want us to leave." That night, the school was locked forever. But the story did not end there. Chapter 3. The First Return. Years later, a maintenance worker was sent to inspect the abandoned school for demolition. He entered expecting dust and decay. Instead, he found something unusual. The classrooms were not destroyed. Chairs were still neatly aligned. Shoes were still placed in rows. Even lunch trays were stacked as if waiting for students to return. But the strangest thing was the chalkboard. On it, written in clean Japanese handwriting, were the words, "Tomorrow, please come to school." The worker thought it was vandalism. But the building had been locked for over 12 years. No one had entered.
Footprints Chapter 4. Footsteps in Empty Hallways. After that incident, villagers began reporting strange events. At night, when snowstorms hit the mountains, people passing near the abandoned school heard something impossible. Children's footsteps. Not 1 or 2. Dozens. Running through hallways. Laughing. Opening sliding doors. But when anyone approached, everything stopped instantly. One hunter claimed he saw light inside the gymnasium. He entered with a flashlight. The gym was empty. Except for one thing. A single jump rope swinging gently as if someone had just let go. Bell Chapter 5. The Bell That Rings Alone. The most disturbing story comes from a taxi driver who drove through the mountain road near an abandoned school around midnight. He said the weather was calm, no wind, no storm. Then suddenly, the school bell rang. Once. Twice. He stopped the car. Looked toward the dark silhouette of the building. And then he saw it. The bell rope moving slowly as if someone was pulling it from inside. But there was no electricity. No power. No reason for the bell to move. When he told locals, they simply said, "That school still has attendance." Books Chapter 6. The Teacher Who Came Back. One retired teacher reportedly returned years later to collect old student records. He entered the staff room with a flashlight. Everything was exactly as it was left. Even his personal cup remained on the desk. But inside the attendance book, something had changed. Names were written. Recent dates. Fresh ink. The teacher panicked and left immediately. Later, he refused to speak about what he saw. But one line was overheard. "They are still coming to class even without us." Fog Chapter 7. The Truth Behind the Legend. Skeptics say there is a rational explanation. Wind passing through broken windows. Animals entering buildings. Paper shifting due to humidity. Psychological effects of isolation. And in many ways, they are right. But in rural Tōhoku, where winter storms last for days and entire villages vanish into silence, logic does not always feel complete. Because the emotional truth is stronger than the physical one. These schools were not just buildings. They were childhood. And childhood is hard to erase. Ghost final chapter, if you ever pass by. Locals still warn travelers. If you are driving through rural Tōhoku at night and see an abandoned school on a snowy hill, do not stop. Do not honk. And whatever you do, do not look inside the windows too long. Because some say when the last bell rings in a forgotten school, it is not announcing the end of the day. It is calling attendance.